What's good, Buffs Nation? Got a nice little update here, right? We're coming about 4 weeks now away from college football starting. I know y'all are excited. I am too. And so all of the college football experts are now putting out their predictions to where all the teams are going to lay and land this coming season. We got one from On3's JD Pickell, and I'm not going to lie, a little shocking that he gave Colorado the love that he did. Let's look at where he thinks Colorado's going to finish. Now, I'll throw out a little prediction of my own, and we'll dive into that here on the prime time for college football. Now, first and foremost, we've got to take a gander at the schedule, right? We all know that what the Buffs have done over the last few months has been revamping this entire roster in preparation for the move into the Big 12. Big 12 Media Days just passed, and Coach Prime did a really good job of reassuring everyone that Colorado ain't going to be no slouch when it comes to it. So when you look at the schedule itself, starting off the year, of course, you know, it's funny because Coach Prime made the joke about North Dakota State, which they're a formidable opponent, right? They've won a lot of natties there in the FCS ranks, and they have been the one that's been known to be a spoiler when it comes to playing against teams in FBS. Even going back to their play in 2021, 2022 area, they almost beat Arizona. Now, granted, Arizona wasn't at the best at that point. They were redoing things and revamping, but they only lost by 2 points in that game. So that's not a team to be trifled with. And Prime made that joke about them, saying, hey, could got a little bit of an easier one in this one, right? But no, he does embrace the challenge. And, you know, we do too here, right? You know, we know that that's a good tune-up in preparation for the following week. You know, traveling to Nebraska. Nebraska's going to want revenge from last season because they lost. And, you know, that's kind of the coming out party for Colorado and pointing out, hey, man, Buffs ain't nobody to play with. But the good thing is both teams have revamped their rosters. We still got our quarterback, revamped offensive line. Wide receiver room is still elite, one of the tops in the country. So that's not something of concern for me. But looking at the schedule, we all understand that going through here from Colorado State on the road, being a rivalry game, bringing Baylor into town, all the way down to ending the season with Oklahoma State coming in around Thanksgiving weekend, the Buffs got a lot of things ahead of them to keep their mind of. So JD Pickell, of course, like I said, he gave his prediction for the season, and we're going to pull up what he actually thinks Colorado, because he did his traditional, I'm going to tell you a team prediction in 60 seconds or less, so no reason to point that out or play the video. We're just going to show you the actual final results of it. So JD thinks that the Buffs are going to make a bowl game. He's thinking a 6-6 season. And so I'm going to ask you all, before I dive into it, hop in the comments. Y'all let me know. Is a 6-6 season acceptable for you all? Going to a bowl game, is that enough to please the people there in Boulder? I'm asking y'all that question because when you have a player like Shedeur Sanders who's anticipated to be a top 10, if not top 5 NFL draft pick, and Travis Hunter, who's anticipated to be also a top 10 to top 5 NFL draft pick, expectations are typically a lot higher than that, right? 6 is cool. Bowl game is cool, especially in the rebuild that he's doing now. But I know that y'all hungry for more. I'd be hungry for more too, right? So, but this is what Pickell thinks. He thinks the team starts off with a 6-2 record, and then falling in the last 4 games of the season. I don't know how much of that I actually believe. That feels a little harsh, because when I looked at the schedule itself, as we talked about that a minute ago, I can understand the thought process behind starting off strong, beating North Dakota State, beating Nebraska. Well, he said losing to Nebraska. I think they beat Nebraska again, and then beating Colorado State. I see another 3-0 start. The Baylor game, to me, is the most interesting. It'll be the first in the Big 12, and Baylor is kind of desperate, right? They're in that desperation mode because Dave Aranda's kind of on that hot seat, right? You know, and I love how he came out there at the media days and they were asking about how he's getting all these players. He was like, we started paying them. So he understands the limitations he's had there at Baylor, and he's trying to figure out a way to get some wins. So I think that one's going to be a dogfight. But the good thing is it's at the crib. That's usually the thing that keeps me confident, right? Then you come on over here to traveling across the country to UCF. Now, as I talk about the travel to UCF cross country, y'all got to tell me, is there a concern there, right? You know, Gus Malzahn is former SEC coach. He's been doing some revamping there at UCF as well. He brought in Ted Roof as his new defensive coordinator, who was formerly at Oklahoma the last couple of years. And him and Gus Malzahn have a good relationship because they were on that national championship team at Auburn. Ted Roof was the defensive coordinator. Gus Malzahn was running the show. So they have a relationship, right? So we got to ask ourselves, what does this look like for Colorado traveling cross country to play UCF? Think Colorado should be able to pull that one off. That's the one I'm not concerned about. Now, the home game against Kansas State. That's where you're going to bring back Dylan Edwards. You'll get to, talk to the man and say, what's up? Ain't seen him in a while. That one, to me, is the game that I see a slip up. I think Kansas State is built a little bit different in this one. Colorado has a chance of making moves in this one. But defensively, offensively, they've got everything in place. I think Chris Kleiman has done a fantastic job with that team, and that's why they're considered one of the favorites in the Big 12. This will be a massive upset for Colorado. I would love for this to happen, right? I anticipate Vegas to make Colorado a dog in this game. So just hear me out. I'm just saying, I sense that that's where they're going to go with it. And then when you go to the last set of games that Pickell gave us, going here with, they think Arizona and Cincinnati are going to be wins, right? Arizona is a road game. I do not see that as a win. I think Noah Fafita is going to be hell on wheels. Him and T-Mac, new coach, but I think that they figure and establish things out at that point. So that's the one I do not believe is a W. But Cincinnati, definitely, that's a win. So to me, I think that instead of a 6-2 record, I see 7-1 potentially, right? Already getting into bowl eligibility. Baylor's one is going to be tough ones. But then you get to the end of the season, and this is where Pickell thinks that Colorado kind of falls off a cliff. Barring injury, I don't see it. I don't think Tech is better than Colorado. Kyle Whittingham has put together a really good roster there. If Cam Rising is playing at Utah, then I've got cause for concern because Utah has been infamous for putting together solid stuff. I don't trust Kansas, and I don't trust Kansas because I don't trust that Jalen Daniels is going to be playing. He hasn't played the last couple of years, and Bean ain't there no more. So we ask ourselves, what does the depth chart look like for Kansas? Right? Who's going to be the one that's going to step in if Daniels is not able to play, right? You've got freshmen out. You got a couple freshmen with Cole Ballard, the redshirt freshman, as well as Isaiah Marshall. And so if Jalen Daniels ain't playing, we'll have to see. He has not been able to play the last 2 years fully. So, yeah, I don't have any faith in that one. I think that one's a win. That's win number 8. Oklahoma State should be one of the best teams in the Big 12. We'll see health-wise if that handles out. I'd say we'll make it fair. I think they can pull out that one. I think that there's 3 losses on the calendar for Colorado on the schedule, but I do not see Colorado losing 4 straight games in the season. That's a little preposterous, a little too much. But Pickell feels like that. And so for me, we'll know by week 3, right? We'll know Colorado State, what this team is. If the offensive line is better, as we anticipate, which Prime is telling us. If the defensive line is better and they're getting pressure, if the secondary is more stout, we'll know that. All of that stuff will come to fruition for us by week 3. We'll know. Actually, going into the Nebraska game, we'll know, right? But the Nebraska game will be the game that will tell us everything about Colorado. So we'll talk about key games and everything a little bit later. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. How y'all feeling about J.D. Pickell's thoughts? Do you think J.D. Pickell's off pace? Do you think that he's accurate? We'd love to hear from each and every one of y'all. Now, y'all know we be diving into what everybody else is talking about because we're not at the point where we really need to evaluate the season. But August, you'll get a breakdown of each game. We'll start talking about position groups as well with that video. That way we'll have 12 videos. It'll be game and a position group together. We'll talk about the coaches next week. I got that video queued up for Monday morning. But if you want to check out any more of the content we've got, talked about Paul Feinbaum and the noise he was talking here, definitely go check that out. Make sure you subscribe. We'll chop it up soon.